like to call the February 6, 2025 work session of the Jackson County Board of Education to order. I'll turn the agenda over to Dr. Brown.
Well, good evening, board, community, staff. I hope everyone is doing well. What a beautiful week we've had. These weeks are a little bit easier when there's beautiful weather outside, so hopefully our students and staff have been able to enjoy some of these beautiful afternoons. A few reminders for the board. The Star Student and Teacher of the Year Banquet hosted by the Chamber of Commerce is coming up on Monday, February 24th at 6 p.m. at the Jefferson Civic Center. And also want to remind the board of March 21st, 2025, we have our board retreat. More information will be upcoming about that, but we'll have school visits in the same manner that we did last year, along with some presentations from staff regarding some things going on inside the district. And then the last agenda item that I have is a reminder that Monday's board meeting will be at Jackson County High School at 6 p.m. in the auditorium. We have a performance by some students at Jackson County High School, and we'll have that in the auditorium. And I don't want to steal Mr. Wester's thunder about student activity, so I won't say anything about that, but lots of great things going on by our students and staff. So without further ado, Dr. Hardegree in Teaching and Learning.
All right, well, good evening. We are excited to bring you an update tonight from the STEAM Bus and specifically our innovation grant, which we received through the Governor's Office of Student Achievement. So I'm going to invite Mrs. Tennell and Mrs. Wilbanks up here to share a little bit about kind of the updated progress with that.
Hello. So, like Dr. Hardegree said, we want to give you an update on our STEAM Bus Innovation Grant that we were awarded at the very end of last year. It's a $35,000 grant. And this grant was, get to the correct slide. We called it Gamified Learning Enrichment on Wheels. And so the whole idea for this grant actually came from students at Gum Springs Elementary. This was a part of their innovation project for their Lego League program last year. And so they were challenged to solve a problem. And their problem they identified was that kids wanted something a little bit more exciting with the STEAM Bus. It was already really exciting, but they had this idea of having more gamified lessons on the STEAM Bus. So they developed a whole escape room style game as far as their innovation project went, and so we used that and took it and ran with it, and we've developed even more gamified things for our students. So with this grant so far, we have purchased some Makey circuitry kits. You can see that's the device at the top that has kind of the plus at the top. We've gotten some Breakout EDU kits, which are like escape room style games that the kids absolutely love. We've also been able to purchase some Little Bit STEAM coding kits, just some electronic pieces that kids can code and put together to build anything from robots to throwing devices to all different kinds of things. We've purchased these Class VR headsets and are using those with students. They also come with this cube called a Merge Cube, and so they can actually do augmented reality with them as well as virtual reality and look at things in 3D in all different ways. And then we've also purchased some kits called Snap Circuits Junior. So that's kind of getting us rolling. And so we're in the process right now of taking all of these devices and linking them directly with all of the 3rd through 5th grade science standards. And so kind of figuring out the ways that we can gamify the standards for students when the STEAM Bus visits them.
So as far as implementation, right now we have 3 lessons that we've developed. For 4th grade, they get to use the VR goggles, which is fantastic, and we have a lesson called The Nature of Light. And if you feel so brave, you're welcome to put the goggles on. What we do for this one is we have kids engage, and if you want to hold them up, hopefully you can see. Let me make sure my computer's woken up. Give me a thumbs up if you can see a grassy field. Are we good? Okay. So what we do is we engage kids and talk about the nature of light and get them to see if they can see how light is interacting with objects in different ways. We change to different sceneries. These are 360s. And we just get kids to notice things about light and how it interacts differently in the daytime, in the nighttime. It's really fantastic. Of course, kids scream every time you change the images. We don't change them that fast for them. But it's really been a lot of fun getting kids engaged and talking about that. The 3rd grade lesson is called So Much Soil. It focuses on the properties of soil, which is the 3rd grade standard, and then we have a Makey lesson called Does It Conduct, where kids use different objects like a banana and test different objects to see if they're conductive or not. And they've been really enjoying those. Here's just some pictures of kids working with the Makey Makeys. Here's some images of the Breakout EDU. The third graders, they love it. They have to, solve puzzles and unlock locks. It's been great for their critical thinking skills. It's amazing how, with each lesson, we start with a list of content vocabulary. I ask them what connections they have to that vocabulary before we even do the lesson, either in their native language or experiences they've had. And it's amazing how you think they're just playing and they don't really learn anything. But by the end of the lesson, what they've learned just from those quick things has been really incredible. And here's some class VR. Teachers get involved. It's been fun. So one big piece of this grant, what we really wanted to focus on is content vocabulary acquisition and usage in our EL population, but specifically for all 3rd through 5th graders. So what we have is a Beyond the Bus lesson that teachers have access to after the kids have this common experience. Then there's a lesson that they can do back in their classroom with which they can use and the content vocabulary. Tish Spindola has created these JPAs is what they're called for the teachers, and they have access to those as well. So we want the bus not to just be this one and done situation, but something that launches kids into using that content vocabulary. And we've developed those as well. This is an example of the JPA. The JPA has things in it that they have seen in this experience. So it would be images from the VR. It would be types of soil that they've seen in that challenge, so that it's, again, connection to this common experience they've had. We are doing surveys to find the impact. I love this quote here. I would like to learn more about this because I still have several questions left about the way light behaves in different places. That was from a student. So that's really exciting that it's launching some things with that. Teachers want it more, and so we're working on how to make that happen. So thank you.
All right, well, thank you to both of you. And there's a lot of hard work that goes into the planning behind the lessons in the STEAM bus. And so I'm very grateful to Mrs. Tennell and Mrs. Wilbanks and everybody who's kind of been involved in that. And the other cool thing about it is when teachers bring their kids to the STEAM bus, they stay with them. So it's embedded professional learning in instructional technology, the science, and even literacy, because we just pull all of those pieces in together. So it's really been a great success, and it's always great when we have grant funding to help us expand those projects. It's one class at a time, but so the bus is there, remind me, is it 2 weeks at a time now? So the bus will be at the school for 2 weeks, and so they just fill it full of all day long. Classes are coming through the STEAM bus. But then the teachers do have access to all of those really high quality lesson plans too. So even if it's not the time that their kids are coming to the bus, they can access those materials. So we just hope to keep the bus rolling, keep it going. Correct, yes. But some of our schools do have, do any of them have, they probably have some that they might use in classroom settings too.
Yeah, and the way we design it is we have 1 week of the 2 that's 3rd through 5th grade, and they're the ones doing the gamified things, and then the next week is K through 2. So if there's a 3rd through 5th grade class that didn't get an opportunity or something came up, then during that K2 week, I'll bring the gamified things to the school, and I'll do a lesson where Cynthia Williams is usually the one who's facilitating those lessons. So I'll bring it in even if it's a K2 week, so.
Yep. So just as we think about the focus of a lot of that has been really how can we develop, just kind of really focus on those language acquisition skills and the content vocabulary for our English language learners. So we also wanted to bring you just this information. As we all know, our enrollment is growing and our EL learners, the number is certainly growing at a steady pace. So just, you can take a look here. This goes back to 2019 when we had 318 English language learners, to now when we have 1,112. And that's probably even grown a little bit, I do believe. When I talked to Martha, I think it's a little bit higher than that. And one of the interesting pieces is not only do we have that many more English language learners, but we went from 38 languages last year, which seems like a lot, but now to 45. So we just continue to really grow in our diversity. And so it's just a great opportunity for how we can really work with our teachers too, to engage all of our students and our families.
You're good. So we also wanted to give you an update on our first LEGO League robotics teams. So we had 11 K-8 they're fourth through eighth grade robotics teams compete in the LEGO League competitions this year. And so these teams prepare months and months. They build their own robots out of LEGO kits. They program them to do different challenges. They develop a 20-minute innovation project that they then go present in front of a whole panel of judges. And they also have to show core values and respect for each other and other teams while they're doing all this. So there's a lot that goes into it. They all go compete at regional events, and there's only a handful of awards that are given at each event. So you can see our list of the first schools who walked away with an award this year, which is just incredible. The top 3 or 4 teams out of 12 to 18 teams at each event are then invited to move on to a super regional event, which is the top 3 or 4 teams from all the other regional events. And then from there, so we had 4 teams that moved on to a super regional event this year, which is incredible. Last year we had 2 teams, so now we're up to 4 teams. But I'm so excited to let you know that from there, at the super regional, there are only, out of 24 teams, 2 teams that are guaranteed to move on to state that are considered the grand champions. They're just great overall in all the separate categories, and they were both Jackson County teams. So we are thrilled about that. It was Gum Springs Elementary and East Jackson Elementary. I get chills even just saying it. It's awesome. South Jackson actually won an award as well. So they got the Core Values Award for just showing overall greatness and good spirit throughout the day. So East Jackson and Gum Springs will be competing at state at UGA on February 15th. So we're really excited about that. But not to be outdone, our high school robotics teams have also done really well this season. So East Jackson High School had 4 different robotics teams this year. Their top 2 teams, Mechanical Mayhem and Talon Tech, will be moving on to state this year. So they were the grand champions of their tournament as well. And also the TEHL, their rookie team, the Eagle has landed, walked away with an award, the Motivation Award, for working really well with students and just the community. And so that was a really great achievement for them as well. And so we're just really excited to continue our robotics programs growing and keeping it going. And then last but not least, we had also our student technology competition. We had a local competition here in Jackson County. Those winners then moved on to a regional event, which happened pretty recently. And we had 18 different projects that will now be moving on to state in a variety of categories for the technology competition as well. So good things happening.
Well, thank you, team, and it's just a ton of time that goes into all those things, so we're very grateful for all of our teachers and leaders who support all of those different things, but lots to be proud of there. Any questions for us? We'll write that into the grant for next year.
All right. Good evening, board. Honored to be here again. I want to start with a few awards tonight. Of course, as district folks and school members, we are able to carry out our jobs on a daily basis thanks to your guys' leadership and guidance and support. And obviously, it's a great honor that you guys were recognized for the 2nd year in a row with the Exemplary Award from the Georgia School Boards Association. That award has come in. This is the glass right here award, so it'll go out in the trophy case again. But again, this award is because of you guys, and so congratulations on that. It's I guess I'm just the guy that's lucky enough to present you with this. So congratulations. Now I'm going to set this here so I don't break it. But again, much deserved. Secondly, we received a Gale Vision Banner Award. Unfortunately, that was left in a vehicle, so my apologies. But that will make its way here. The Vision Awards celebrate school systems that are committed to encouraging and supporting teachers, principals, and district office staff in professional learning. So again, that's another Gale Vision Award that we've received. Next, I want to highlight something that's coming up Monday morning at Jackson County High School. The Arthur Blank Foundation in Northeast Georgia, RESA, will be having a morning meeting about growing the game of girls flag football. We were approached about hosting that meeting in Jackson County because we do already have 2 teams, and so we gladly accepted. And so we have some very high top executives, the Arthur Blank Foundation coming in, and schools from the Northeast Georgia RESA that want to grow the game of girls flag football. Of course, we like to think we're already the leaders of girls flag football. 2 teams, one that won a playoff game in only its 2nd year. So very excited about that on Monday morning. That'll be at 9 a.m. at Jackson County High School. And again, just another opportunity to publicize the great things that we have going on. Next, as we rapidly approach the upcoming eSPLOS renewal and general obligation bond vote, which will be coming up in March, our school system will be hosting a pair of community events, information night sessions. These sessions will be held both at our high schools, provide the community opportunities to learn about our plans for eSPLOS and bond funds. The first session will be Tuesday, February 25th at 5:45 at Jackson County High School. The second one, Tuesday, March 4th at 5:45 at East Jackson High School. Early voting begins February 24th. It runs through March 14th with the election day, of course, on the 18th of March. Again, good opportunity for our community to come out, learn about our plans for these funds as we do approach that vote. And finally, I want to highlight the work that's being done with our Choose Jackson integrated marketing campaign. If you've been watching on social media, you've seen our Choose Jackson. And so we're in the midst of recruiting season right now. We hosted our career fair, but we also have been on the road at UNG and Georgia College and State. We have UGA coming up this upcoming Tuesday. But in today's digital world, it is about what can we put out online and what can we show. So Choose Jackson was kind of an idea that myself and HR came up with, and we kind of said, how can we show people what we are, and who better to tell our story than our own staff. So Choose Jackson, we hand select employees throughout the school system, and they tell their story of why they chose to work in Jackson County. They give advice to prospective applicants of why they should work here. Of course, we really want to rely using the logo of the AJC Top Workplace of the staff survey that was done last year. The campaign started in December. And we've to date have had 5 graphics and 6 videos. Not going to count the video we put up last night because I didn't have time to run the numbers. But we've paid for a few. We paid for a few ads on Facebook, very cheap, cost efficient, and the numbers of that are very incredible. So these are the 2 graphics we boosted. It's called boosted on Facebook when we started accepting the certified applications, and then for our job fair. And so when you look at the boosted post for those 2 graphics, the Join Our Team got over 21,000 views on Facebook from over 14,000 accounts. The job fair graphic got over 29,000 views and over 11,000 accounts. And again, so that was we had people who were clicking on the ad that lived in Massachusetts and were like, oh, I just clicked on the ad to figure out what was going on. So that reach went very well. Our Choose Jackson videos, which are simply, we're just putting on social media, Facebook and Instagram at very strategic times at night. No paid advertising. As of Tuesday, those videos have received over 12,000 views on Instagram, over 6,800 accounts reached, and on Facebook, almost 20,000 views and over 12,500 accounts reached by just putting up videos. And of course, the whole ultimate goal is to drive people to our website, drive them to our career page to learn about our careers and ultimately apply. And so when I went through the website analytics from December 1st, 23 to February 4th, 24, our career page got 4,000 views from over 2,300 users. That same time frame this year, 8,900 views from 5,300 plus users. Those are unique IP addresses. And then the very bottom there, only 1,900 users from that same time frame, 23 to 24, accessed our entire website from social media. We've almost tripled that. Almost 5,000 people have accessed our website from social media. So clearly it's working. We're excited about that and the campaign. And so we're going to continue that. We've filmed a couple more already. And then ultimately, just a big social media month for us. I think school closures with the snow, kids were excited and shared our post a lot that they didn't have to come to school for a couple days. Those are our numbers right there for social media. You look at Facebook, over 750,000 views on Facebook and over 250,000 on Instagram, which are insane. And I asked Savannah Jacobs, our PR intern, to be here tonight because those numbers are indicative of the hard work that she puts in to publicize our school system. So thank you, Savannah, who's a graduate of ours and has a lot of passion to publicize the school system that she grew up in. She went to GUM and West Middle and Jackson County High School, so she's been here her whole life. So it's fun to see her have passion to publicize and make numbers like this happen. So any questions? Well, I don't give them a script. I just ask them questions. So our staff are really what make that great, because they're saying what's truly on their heart, which is awesome. And so, yeah, it's been really great. We filmed a couple more, so I think I've got 3 or 4 more to come out, and we'll film more too. So it's working. I've heard from a principal today that said people are mentioning, what we're putting out across our schools and our district today in all their interviews they're doing. So we're going to continue it going and try to get the best people here to work for us. So, thank you all.
Well, good evening, everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful Thursday. It's been a nice day. We've got some neat things to talk about. Today, let's look at, if we can, our enrollment for January. And at the end of the month, we're down about 15, but 12 of those are early graduates from our 2 high schools. And so we're proud of those young people. They finished up their credits and decided to head off to work or school, and we're grateful for them. But really, it's about a wash. When you look at January, we're still at about 11,277, which is a big number for us, and it just continues to grow. And what we're seeing, though, and as I talked with Ms. Wilson a little bit, is we're seeing a greater number of students coming in and out. We're seeing a little bit more of that, and that's something for us to kind of be cognizant of as kids are kind of moving back and forth and just trying to keep hold of them and make sure we grab them and support them as best we can. That's something for us to continue to work on. But we're grateful for all of our kids here in Jackson County and the great things they bring to us. So that number is there. The next slide for you is, if I can get to it, make it work. There we go. Let's talk a little bit about the growth. As you know, we've talked about this in several different meetings, and one of the things that we try to keep track of, and Dr. Brown has great relationships with our municipal leaders, with our county governance leaders, and understanding where is the building happening, right? And what is the pace of that building, because that helps us to better understand how we might need to plan our schools out as we move toward the future. And one of the things we found out from 2024 is that the most residential permits were issued in the history of Jackson County last year. And that was 1,840 residential permits were issued by the different municipalities and by our county government. And 85% of those residential permits were issued within the Jackson County school system. The others were outside. So as you think about that, what we've talked about is just a continuation. This is more evidence, right? We don't just think about what we feel, we look at the evidence as well. The evidence is there that we've got a lot of folks moving to us, and that we see that trend continuing. But just wanted to make you kind of aware of that particular issue there. 1,840 houses, and 1,571 of them were within the Jackson County school system over the last year. So good things happening there. Let's talk about some of the great things that our schools are accomplishing and what our students are doing. And just kind of a recap of some of the things that are happening. Our winter sports are completing their seasons at this point in time, and we see girls and boys basketball finishing up in the next few weeks. So the swimming diving championships are happening this weekend. Our wrestling teams are competing at state, sectionals, and then state over the next week or so. Our dance team, esports, and riflery are still in play, and we're just getting started with all of our spring sports, right? Some of them are having I think tennis is having some first matches this week. We're seeing baseball scrimmages going on. Golf is getting started. Lacrosse is playing their first match, I think, tonight. We've got soccer, tennis, and track and field as well, all underway. So we've got balls flying all over the place, and people flying all over the place, too, if you watch the track and field kids jump. So great things happening there. As we look at some of the highlights over the past month, at East Jackson High School, the basketball teams are now getting ready to compete for their region tournaments and hopefully earn themselves some spots in the state playoffs. We'll see how they finish up there. Wrestling at East is really taking off as well. We talked about that a little bit in the past, but they were the 8AA region champions in both traditional and duels from the boys' side. And the girls competed for state as well on the dual side, excuse me. And then the girls have 3 wrestlers who have advanced to the traditional sectionals this weekend. So we've got wrestling continuing and some great results we hope to see out of the wrestlers as they move forward. Swimming and diving, we had Miss Emma Miller, who has advanced to the state swim meet that's going on this weekend. And multiple school records were broken this year by our Eagle swimmers. The dance team had their first competition on January 11th, and they're competing well. Esports is doing some great things. And then a super accomplishment, something that's truly remarkable. All these things are. But in our arts program at East Jackson, we had 21 Eagles who were selected for the All-State Chorus. 21. That is a truly amazing number. We're so proud of them. And we also had a student selected for All-State Band out of our Eagle musicians. So just some great things happening, of course, at East Jackson High School. As we transition over to Jackson County High School, on the basketball side, the girls team is having a historic season. And we just hope that will continue. They're currently 17-7 and 10-1 in the region. They have already earned themselves a place in the state playoffs. By the way that the region tournament will play out, they're already a top seed, so they'll get a bye into the state tournament. But they'll continue to play for seeding and hopefully get to host some games in that state tournament. We're hoping for that. The boys are in the hunt for a playoff spot. The region tournament will determine if they earn themselves a way into the playoffs there. In terms of wrestling, just a great season going on for the Jackson County Panther Wrestling Program. The boys were the region 5A duals champion and also the traditional champion. They finished in the top 6 in 5A for duals. And they won the regional championship this past weekend, advancing to the sectionals with 12 wrestlers from the boys team making it onto sectionals. So they got a great shot to continue to represent their school in our county. The girls wrestling team finished as the area dual runner-up, but the area traditional champions this past weekend. And they're moving on with several girls making it past into the sectional section as well. Our swimming and dive team, we have a state champion from Jackson County High School. Freshman Alyssa Pace won the state diving championship this past week. So we're very proud of her. And we have 6 individuals and 6 relay squads who are still competing this weekend for a chance to bring home some medals from the state swim meet. And of course, our flag football team had a monumental season. Mr. Hooper talked a little bit about the opportunity this week to get some support from them through the Arthur Blank Foundation. But 9 of our players were selected to the all-area team, and Coach McCutcheon was selected as the area coach of the year for flag football. So we're certainly proud of them. Our dance team has had 2 competitions so far, and they finished on the podium each time, 2nd and 3rd place for our dance program at Jackson County. And our chorus and band students have also done very well, with 3 of our choral students at Jackson County being selected for All-State, 13 of those students making the LGPE District Chorale, and 3 of our band students at Jackson County being selected for All-State as well. So just some great accomplishments for these young people and for our amazing adults who work with them. Looking at our middle school accomplishments, some great things there at East Jackson. The boys basketball team finished their season with a 9-4 record and were finished in the semis there for their league championship and played a monster game. Just couldn't quite get into that final game, but they played very well. Wrestlers had multiple top finishers at all their events, and their swimming and diving team broke multiple school records and finished very well for their season at East Jackson Middle School. Looking at Legacy Knoll, their basketball team finished with a 14-4 record and were the runner-up in the league tournament and lost the championship game in overtime. What a game. It was an epic battle. But great representation for that school. The wrestling team has won the Pac-10 championship in duals and individuals, and the girls also won the championship, and boys in swimming. Along with West Jackson Middle School, whose basketball team finished in the quarterfinals. The girls also finished as quarterfinalists, and their wrestlers and swimmers also were part of those undefeated and championship teams in girls and boys swimming and diving, and also in wrestling. And then the last thing we want to highlight for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is some of the accomplishments here at Empower, and some things that they were able to share with us. Our Skills USA team won 1st place in crime scene investigation in a competition that they had for that. The FBLA squad, Brody Wooten and Lauren Ienko, advanced to the state competition for that particular group. In technology, the regional technology competition results showed that Jacob Carthern was in 1st place. Jake Simmons got a 2nd place finish. Brighton Andrews was 1st, and Walter Norman was also a winner for the competition. And then I don't know if you had a chance to come by at all this week, but Ag is having FFA week, and Dr. Brown and I got to walk past the barn while they were having the petting zoo out there, and we were approached and offered an opportunity to walk around and see all the critters and all the neat things that they had going on, and it was kind of fun. So we enjoyed that. And of course, lastly, the National Technology Honor Society will have inductions this week, and I think they've got 40 to 50 young people who will be inducted into that here at Empower. So there are just some, as always, folks, some great things going on here in Jackson County Schools, and we've got amazing students with amazing people who work with them each and every day. We're grateful for all their hard work. Do you have any questions about some of the things that are happening here? Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Good evening, Board. I am happy to be here and not have any questionable things or long-winded things to have to discuss with you or get approval on. It's just amazing financial information that I get to present, and I'm super excited about it. If we want to take a look first at our SPLOST, you can see that we are up over every comparison measure, month over month, year over year, and the comparison to the 12-month average. This was actually our second highest collection ever in the history of SPLOST, so it was a great month. Then if you want to continue on to our financials, you can see our fund balance is still looking amazing, and as long as we continue to be conservative throughout the rest of the year and really focus on trying to pay attention to that ending fund balance, we're set at a very good place to end at $30 million at the end of this fiscal year, if not better. So that'll be a big improvement from last year, and that's also including, again, I like to point out, finishing 2 schools with no additional debt for the county. And then finally, if you want to look at the overall financials, you can see that our revenue is at 76% collections. Again, the majority of that is kudos to the tax commissioner and her team and how quickly they got those tax revenues in this year. And you can see that our expenditures are right in line with where we are at this point in the year. We're at 58% completed of the year, and we have spent 58% of our budget expenditure. So we are in very, very good shape. And again, very good place to end the year with a $30 million fund balance. And then the final thing that I want to point out, this is just really, it's for you, but it's also for the public to see, because it's hard to understand when I get up here and say that, the state health has increased dramatically and TRS has increased dramatically. What's dramatically? Well, we put it down on paper, put it in numbers. So for TRS, if you look, you can see that over a 5-year time frame, the contribution rate has increased at almost 15%, but what we've contributed, because that includes the contribution rate increased employees, and increased salaries, that has gone up almost 75%, that cost, between 2021 and what we're projecting for 2026. And the real shocker is state health. And we all know that it has increased dramatically over the last several years. But as you can see, we're looking at 100 to 300% increases over a 5 to 10 year period. So it is exponential. And again, these are things that we don't have any control over. And if you take into account from fiscal year 2020, the total between those two required benefit contributions was $18.5 million. The projected amount for 2026 is $43.7 million. So it is more than doubled just in that 5-year span. And again, those are costs, those are expenses that are determined at the state level that we are required to pay into. So it has a tremendous impact on our budget. Any questions? Thank you.
Dr. Brown, Board, I appreciate the opportunity to present tonight on behalf of the Operations Department and the project update for the month of January, February. If you look on some of these, one of the highlights that I want to talk about is the concrete foundations, which are scheduled for February 17th. And then the concrete slab placement will become later in February. So we're very pleased with the progress once we got started and what Carroll Daniel and the subcontractors have done. On the renovation side, we are ahead of schedule on the cabling for the fire alarm system and updating that, and also on the gas line, the main that has been installed. Something that we're tracking is the HVAC systems, and they continue to be on track for mid to late April. So once again, I appreciate all the hard work from everyone, and as you see the progress as you came in today, well pleased with what's going on. So if we can go to the pictures, you can kind of see in the first picture the site work that has been done and completed, and then the bottom picture you can see the storm drain and the utilities being worked on. So thank you, and any questions? All right, have a good night.
There is a need for executive session tonight, so I need a motion for us to go into executive session. Mr. Johnson with a motion? Ms. Wheeler with a second. All in favor? Aye. We'll see you in a little while. Okay, need a motion to return from executive session, board. Motion by Ms. Mullin. Second? Second by Ms. Wheeler. We're back in. Need a motion to approve the personnel recommendations of the superintendent from executive session. Motion by Rob. Second? Second by Ms. Mullin. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.